I don't think that's going to be well received by the mass public. Let me read this to you guys. And this is in reference to black women in particular. I don't think I've opened myself to that. My dick is sort of like a white supremacist. I've got a Benetton heart and a fucking David Duke cock. I'm going to start dating separately from my dick. John. John, buddy. No. And I understand that he's trying to be funny and he's trying to be sort of outlandish to the point where people are just like, ha. No. Never. Comparing your penis to David Duke. I don't think that's the most um, viably funny thing to ever come across the world. I thought it was funny just based off of pure ignorance and stupidity that it just oozed out of that statement. But aside from that, it was completely offensive. And, you know, you could have said something else. You could have just said you haven't found yourself sexually attracted to African American women. It's that easy. So, with the second part of that, part of the interview, and also in reference to African American women, John went on to say, I always thought Holly Robinson Peete was gorgeous. Every white dude loved Hillary from the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. And Kerry Washington, she is super hot. And she also has a white girl crazy aspect. Kerry Washington would break your heart like a white girl. Just all of a sudden, she'd be like, yeah, I sucked your dick, whatever. And you'd be like, what? We weren't talking about that. Not only was it offensive to the fact that it was linked to the David Duke conversation, but it was also kind of linked back to the fact that, you know, he only dates white women, and that's fine, but at the same time, he brings up these women who are considered to be quote unquote white cultured women, the Oreo deal, and they're just well educated women. Hillary from the Fresh Prince, she was an airhead, and she was just your Beverly Hills prima donna. And so, I mean, white culture would perceive her as being acting as if she was white. Yeah, no. Like I understand where he's trying to go with this, and it's, you know, it's meant to be funny. Maybe if it was on TV, it might be like you could see the sarcasm off of his face. But when things are put into word format, they can have a life of its own, basically, essentially. When you are doing like print interviews, you have to be very careful, because when the text is released to the public, it can be so misconstrued, and it can come across as being very blatantly racist or intentionally racist. And that, I don't, honestly, again, I don't think that John Mayer was intentionally trying to be racist or that he is a racist. I don't think that this is even a comparison to like when Michael Richards of Seinfeld, when he just completely went on a rampage against African Americans at his comedy show. I don't think it was anything like that. And, you know, John Mayer has tried to be funny in the past. He's always trying to be, you know, he tries to step on that ledge, and he finally, I think, just went for a free fall, and it just made him go splat on his face. It's not very good. Not good at all. And, you know, personally, I think that if people were to see John Mayer's other interviews and to see the people that he surrounds himself with, you would know that he's not a racist. That's just I don't know him personally, and I could be completely wrong and off the marker. But like from just what I've seen in his interactions with people, I just don't get that vibe from him. Especially a white boy who's involved heavily with the rhythm and blues sector of music. That would be yeah, that'd be very ironic. But you know, I think that John, I think he just needs, like, I think he's made an apology, and he said that what he said was completely inappropriate. But actually, I need to go ahead and read the second part of the interview. This is the Hood Pass interview. I'm sorry, I burped. The Hood Pass part of the interview. And essentially what he's talking about is that because he has been accepted by the black culture, prior to this interview, that he felt that he had a Hood Pass. And this is what he said. Someone asked me the other day, what does it feel like to have a Hood Pass? And by the way, it's sort of a contradiction in terms, because if you really had a Hood Pass, you could call it a nigger pass. Why are you pulling a punch and calling it a Hood Pass if you really have a Hood Pass? But I said, I can't have a hood pass. I've never walked into a restaurant and asked for a table and been told, we're full. What is being black? It's making the most of your life, not taking a single moment for granted, taking something that's seen as a struggle and making it work for you, or you'll die inside. Not to say that my struggle is like the collective struggle of black America, but maybe my struggle is similar to one black dude's. Now, again, if you read those two portions of that interview separately, and I'm referring to the hood pass section, it would come across as being extremely um, racist in its subtext. And I say that in the being that, he said nigger. Sorry, white people, you cannot say nigger. I don't know how many times that it has to be told. You just can't. It doesn't matter if you've lived in an urban community and you're surrounded by a million black people and that's all you ever known. You will never, ever, ever be able to say the word nigger, any form of that. Now, if you're in your car and you're bumping to some music and you're the only person in that car and possibly other white people around you and there are no black people in sight, maybe you might get away with it. But aside from that, no. Now, I can understand what he's talking about with the hood pass. That's kind of like an inside joke within, or now outside joke within, black communities. And essentially, you're given a hood pass if they think that you have street credibility and that if you've been accepted by, a certain sector of the African American community. Now, with that being said, I think he was trying to, again, be funny, and the joke fell flat, and it came across as being, excuse my language, being a complete asshole, completely ignorant, and a complete debasement of the African American community. Now, that's how someone could perceive that. If they didn't know John Mayer as a singer, and again, his work within the urban / African American community, I could see that as being completely racist. But again, I think he was trying to be funny, and he was trying to be, trying to be very. I think he was trying to make light of racism, and I say that in being that he's saying these comments, and I guarantee you, if they had a video to coincide with this interview, you could possibly see the sarcasm all over his face. He tries to do the Chelsea Handler portion of sarcasm and the Sarah Silverman, and it's just not working for him. He's not a comedian. You're an artist in another form. You're a musician. Keep those lives separate. I wouldn't even. I mean, honestly, if he, and again, in his apology, he said he's gonna stop playing the media game and he's, gonna just do music. John, you don't have to do just that, and then you can still do the interviews and everything like that. But just think about what you're gonna say prior to saying it, and knowing that your audience is gonna read this down the line, and it could be misinterpreted and interpreted in various different ways. And so, again, your words, if they're written down in print, they have a life of their own, just as it would be in video. You know what I mean? But like I think oftentimes when the verbal with the nonverbal cues are mixed together, like you can see my face right now, I'm doing my different facial expressions with along with my voice, it can have a different connotation. You know what I mean? And like, just if I said, I'm sorry, like, I mean, people would be like, well, he's not really sorry, but I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry. Do you know what I mean? Like, the facial expressions are coinciding with my verbal cues. Nonverbal cues with verbal cues are making my message being that I'm genuinely sorry, not just, I'm sorry. Completely vacant. So I think that John needs to sit down with his handlers, have a conversation, and try to see where they can go from here. I think one apology is enough. I mean, he can apologize as many times as he wants, and I think that for the most part, people have forgiven him. And I don't judge people on their personal preferences, their sexual preferences, their perceptions of life. I mean, I think everybody has the ability to make their own opinion, and they should have those opinions to stick by. But like, I think again, he was his words were misconstrued, and he took ownership, and he was a man about it, and he said he was sorry. So all is forgiven in my perception. So, this is Byron Clear's video blog, and I hope you guys enjoyed it.